Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. I am Noxweiler Burf, your game master and guide through the dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Wednesday evening, we are playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as your game master, have confirmed consent with each of these players. Our lines and veils have been very firmly drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and to protect everyone at the table tonight. This is very important to us. We insist upon a safe space to explore these dark nightmares together. We're also asking you for your consent, and we encourage you to read the content warning very closely. This game is full of all sorts of opportunities for us to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imagination. But it does have its risks, and we're going to be very careful about that as we move forward. This game takes a certain amount of bravery and the support of everyone at the table. We respect that, and we're very thankful for it. Not every character that is here tonight is going to be played with the same objectives and motivations as the other characters. This isn't the same as many tabletop role-playing experiences that you might have undertaken. Some of these characters are working against the other players, and they are in communication with dangerous outside forces. Again, we have spent a good deal of time speaking with one another and ensuring that our gameplay happens within the safe confines of the safety that we've created here, the bubble of security and understanding that we have built together. You see, in this world, there are no magical swords to be discovered. There are no valiant knights or castle walls to hide behind. The dangers in the apocalypse are far, far worse than anything that a dragon or magic could produce. These dangers are much more frightening. They wear the face of a world that died long ago. They are the echo, the dying gasp of a civilization that no longer exists, but one that is very familiar, haunting. The enemies, the true enemies, look very much like you or I. Still, in the darkness of all of this, we hope to be able to shine a light upon those corners of the human nature that we wish to explore. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman tonight for all of their support in making this happen. The entire Hunters team has made this campaign possible, and we're very thankful for their trust and support as we've moved forward through this campaign. Also, we're asking tonight that you sign up for the Scry program. It's available in our panels below, and you can engage with the communities of the apocalypse directly there. You will take on an active role as a survivor yourself, and you'll help to divert resources and goods to where you think that they are most needed. Your choices tonight will make the difference between life and death. They are linked to the settlements within the Rag and Bone universe, and every choice has consequences that will ripple through the rest of this game world. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you may have. They're here to support your efforts, and we are very thankful for their presence. Please, if you enjoy this content and wish to aid us in any way, we would ask that you continue to make noise for us on social media and to help us to grow and bring more survivors into the fold each and every week. Join us in our Discord and connect with others who you feel might enjoy this particular brand of Dark Ride. Enough of all of that, though. Allow me to introduce you to the players in tonight's nightmare. Michelle, would you like to say hello to everyone and talk a little bit about who you'll be playing and what other things you might be doing across the internet these days?
Sure. Hello, my name is Michelle Wynn Bradley. You can find me on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny on all social media. I'm here every Tuesday on Hunter's Cast. Very happy to be here as always. And you can also find me on Official Paizo's Twitch. I'm also on their show on Wednesdays, which is restarting sometime soon, not announced yet. This week I have some stuff coming up on Wednesday at let's look what time. I want to say 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to be guesting on Gamer Girls. That's on twitch.tv/fable52. Fabled 52. And then on Saturday, I'm going to be part of the Gen Con Spring Showcase with Paizo. I'll be doing a Pathfinder game, and I get to be a big pirate bird on the ocean, and I'm real kind of excited about that. And that's going to be at 5 p.m. I think the link is Gen Con something. I'll put it on Twitter. I am playing tonight Juniper and also Olive. When Juniper gets real stressed out, Olive takes over and is a lot less nice than Juniper is. Currently, I have peeled off from the group and I'm hiding in some trees with Digger, who's played by our friend Alex a couple weeks ago, but is now an NPC and is helping me not die. But I'm a little worried about Juniper because she's not part of the team anymore. I don't know where anyone is, and but the thing is, if I see them again, I'm probably gonna die because Rowan is out to kill me also, and vice versa.
There was a confrontation between you and Rowan when last the two of you were at the table, and both of you walked away barely, but there are certainly repercussions that will be dealt with when the time comes. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Markia, would you like to introduce yourself, talk about what you're doing across the internet, and just a little bit about who you'll be playing tonight?
Hello, I'm Markia McCarty. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty. Twitch is Darth Markia. Facebook is Markia TV. And on Mondays, you can see me do Roll20. Roll20 app does Kids on Bikes, and I play Mana Pepperwood there, who is a goth spiritual guru who connects with her gods through her music. She's 11 and a half. So that's something to enjoy Monday mornings. That's 8 a.m. If you're Pacific time, and you can figure out when that is for otherwise. So on Tuesdays, obviously, find me here. Tuesday mornings, 11 a.m. PT, my weekly show, Something Scary, animated horror series that drops every Tuesday. It's not only an animated horror show, it is also a podcast. And in about a month's time, we're going to have a specialty show that's slated for April 8th. Don't worry, I will remind you when we're closer to it. It's supposed to be a lot of horror guests, and then plus myself will be talking all strata of horror, including like a social presence with horror, and then along with that, narrating a number of original stories. So hopefully you'll join me on that night, and I will remind you closer to the date. So I am playing Achira Sampson here tonight on Rag and Bone. And the flashback episode that we had, Achira had been on her own for a while after she had broken away from the military that she had been with previously. And when she decided to give people another try instead of just going off on her own, she ended up getting a blow dart for her troubles, and then fade to black. So we'll see what is happening with her in the present day. She is up a tree, and precariously up a tree, we'll say, with Romero's all around.
Both you and Juniper had decided that the safest place to avoid the horde of the dead was to find yourself as far up a tree as possible. And while that was accurate, the size of the horde that was passing through the area was unexpected. The two of you have been up there much longer than you anticipated, and it's very difficult to maintain your balance, especially with all of the movement below. We'll discover more about what Achira's situation holds for her, not only in the present day, but also in her past, as we had started to unravel some of those situations. I'm very excited to do that tonight. Next, Melee, would you like to talk a little bit about yourself, what you're doing across the internet, where people can find you, and who you're going to be playing tonight?
Hi there, I am Melee Damage. You can find me on all the socials, whatever they are, / Melee Damage. You can catch me here every Tuesday doing wonderful things with all of these wonderful people, and I love it so much. I should be starting my Twitch channel back up fairly soon if you want to stop by late night and watch me play some wonderful games. I have a music video coming out for my song Mothership probably in a few weeks. And yeah, working on new music and all of that fun creative stuff. I am playing Rowan tonight, who has gone through a fair bit of trauma in recent episodes, and I believe is currently standing somewhere with a walkie-talkie, about to have a very uncomfortable conversation, but is very happy to be alive.
Indeed, that conversation is going to be quite interesting. Last but not least, Luis, welcome back. You're going to talk just a little bit about who you're going to be playing, but also about the things that you're doing across the internet, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Luis Carrazzo. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter with just combining my first and last name together, and I'll pop up. I'm here on Tuesdays. A couple things that are going to start to air soon. Mid-March, I have a couple things that'll start to air on a television set somewhere around you, and maybe on the internet. And I'll be able to give links out to that as that gets closer. And I play Lampwick. Lampwick is in a really interesting place. Flash, in his past, or flashback, revealed that he was, traveling with another group and had acquired a young, a baby girl that Lampwick then started passing off as his daughter to gain sympathy with other survivors, and it was working for a little while, and then he established an actual attachment to her, and then it looks like we got to the point where he lost her in his history, and in the present appears to have joined the shepherds. Yeah.
Perhaps that's all that should be said about that situation until we get into the story itself. If you're joining us for the first time, don't worry. Much of this will be explained as we move along. We have a lot to do, and I wish to thank all of you again for your support. But before we go to our introduction, I wanted to remind all of you that as a special reward for your support of Rag and Bone over these last few months, we have been offering a few special gifts to you. We are going to be doing a giveaway for a digital set of content for Outbreak products from Hunters Entertainment. And you can find out more about that on our social medias. We will be announcing a winner this week. Additionally, we are offering free content Friday on DriveThruRPG, and if you haven't already, you can go to DriveThruRPG and download both Rag and Bone Ground Zero and the upcoming No Heroes supplements, all of which talk directly about the world of this campaign and allow you to get an inside glimpse into the mechanics that are used to produce this content in this campaign. We invite you to join us on that journey as well. In the future, you'll have the opportunity to help us decide what content will be released next in that series, so please stay tuned to all of that. Well, with all of that said, I don't want to waste any more of our time. We have a lot to do, and so very much to explore. We'll be right back. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far, far worse. H195, commonly called the Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss, was as deadly as it seemed to be. The dead were even more infectious after they passed away. The virus mutated and grew. Like wildfire, it passed through civilization. At first, it seemed as though no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that 0.1% of the population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of that virus. Through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact, those who found themselves in the grip of the dead became the dead. They roamed, and they did not lie peacefully. There was no resting for them. The end of days raged on, and throughout the world, people sought security where there was none to be had. The government collapsed. All nations fell. The world was tossed into utter turmoil. Entire cities burned, but miraculously, some managed to survive. And for the next 25 years, life struggled forward. The world now is an empty and fractured place. Some, that small handful of survivors, some of them seek to make civilization anew. One such group, known as the Ender's Line, uses old railway tracks to connect small and scattered outposts and settlements across the Midwest United States and beyond. They are rag and bone merchants, scavengers. They are the brave souls that are willing to trek across the wilderness to ensure that struggling people receive food, clean water, weaponry, all of the necessities of life. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs entirely to the dead. Achira, your head is ringing. You have a heavy taste of cotton in your mouth. You're weak, woozy, your stomach turns. You don't feel right. Your hand, as you try to instinctively reach up to your neck where there is a sharp pain, is bound behind your back. You're unable to move. As your vision clears, you recognize the interior of an old semi-trailer. Not one that you'd ever been in before, but one that clearly has been repurposed. It is empty now, save for a few items. Your head continues to spin, and you are looking for some glimpse of understanding of the area that surrounds you outside of this trailer, but the doors, both of them, have been closed and sealed, and it is dark, save for a small slit of sunlight that pours in between them. You do not know how long you have been unconscious. All you recall is the camp that you had found. You remember traveling around it, inspecting it. You remember the quiet old man hunched before the fire. You crept closer. There were tents. The boots were waders for a river, but they were small for children. All of the signs of a family unit were present. You took this to indicate that perhaps these people could be trusted. Inside of a cooler behind one of the tents, you discovered wrapped meats that were cooled by cold water that had been gathered by a nearby stream. You had stolen some of that meat, tucked it into your bag. You were interested to see what else might be of value here, or perhaps if these people were of use to you. And as you announced yourself and approached the old man before the fire, the scarf that had been wrapped around his head had fallen away. And you see that his mouth had been stitched shut, that his ears had been removed. He was horribly battered, and there was a stake in the ground, tethering him to that fire. His hands were bound, covered in mittens. It was at that moment that you felt the piercing of a dart, and everything went dark. Now, in the back of this semi-trailer, you look about. You see your pack, your bag, not too far away from you. It's been opened. Many of your things have been taken out. Someone was digging around your possessions. You realize that your weapons are not on you.
Even my hand scythe?
Where was it hidden again?
We didn't establish the exact place that I kept it hidden on me, but I guess I would say back thigh.
Given the size of a hand scythe, I think it's going to be difficult for that to go unnoticed. But I'm willing to see. I'm going to make a search roll, and I would like for you to use your stealth to make a roll as well. And we will treat this as a contested roll. If the degrees of difference between our successes and failures pan out, it will go unnoticed. If not, it will be found.
I did a straight stealth roll. I have 1 degree of failure.
With 1 degree of failure, you curse under your breath as you see the hand scythe on the other side of the trailer by your bag. They found it. It is sitting there, though, and you can see it, along with some of your other items. Your hands, it feels, are tied with rope. And the rope, while tight, is also tied to a post that is attached to the back of this metal container. But that's not all that's in here with you. In the back corner, perhaps 15 feet away, you see another person. They're also tethered in a similar fashion to the wall. They're looking at you desperately between you and the door, back and forth. It is a man, middle-aged. He looks strong enough, but he's entirely average. He's a white man with broken glasses and a bad haircut. Wholly unremarkable in any other circumstances, but inside this trailer, with that look on his face, he looks terrified, desperate. As you start to come to and move, you hear him under his breath. Shh, don't say anything. You have to be quiet.
Achira equally under her breath, maybe even a little quieter than him. How long was I out?
He brought you in here maybe 12 hours ago. I didn't know if you were still alive. You weren't breathing, or I didn't think you were breathing. Look, we don't have much time. All right? My wife, Luna, she's out there somewhere. I need to get out and find her.
This was your camp, wasn't it?
Yeah. The hunter, he took. Look, I need to get out so we can work together. Roger, he was traveling with us. We were gonna overpower him, but he came in and he took Roger. And
is Roger older?
Yeah.
Do you have anything sharp on you at all?
Look, my ankle's broken, and I don't think he thinks I'm a threat. So I've been paying attention, and he's got a boot knife. And if he comes in, and if you trip him, I think I can get the boot knife. I can hold him. You could stab him. Look, I know you don't know me. You can take whatever you want. We have some things. Some stuff that we've gathered. There's another family that was traveling with us. I don't know where they are. I don't know where he put them, but you could join us.
I'm not looking to join anybody anymore. I should have never stopped at this camp.
What's your name? Tell me your name.
Achira.
Achira, I'm Mitchell. Mitchell Stevens. I was a school teacher. I taught history. My daughter died. She was 4, and Luna's pregnant. I gotta find her. I'm sorry. I know this is different now. It's been years, and people aren't the way they were. I need you to trust me.
I don't trust anyone, Mitchell.
Okay.
I just need something sharp to
I don't.
cut this rope.
My hands are tied like yours, but he's got the boot knife. I've been watching him. He's armored. It won't be easy, but my ankle is broken, but I can still move. I can hold him down while you take the knife. And look, back there, I've got another pack.
Do you know what's in it?
Yeah, it's got gold.
Gold doesn't help right now, Mitch.
Yeah, but listen, the East Coast, they're taking people. They're taking people overseas. You can buy passage. You just have to have a lot. I was going to use it for Luna and I, but you take that pack. You help me get her back. Or get me out. Just get me out. I'll find her. If you help me.
One step at a time, okay, Mitchell? First things first, we need to not be in here anymore.
Right.
We'll use your plan as a last case scenario. Achira's going to attempt to, if her hands are tied behind her back, you know, that thing that you can do where you scrunch up your knees and, you know, put your hands out in
Mm-hmm.
front of you by
Mm-hmm.
putting your knees close to your body.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to try to do that.
There's only one problem, Achira. Your hands are tethered to the back of this container, and so you will be flipping yourself along the wall of the container, meaning that if you succeed, you will be stretched back out and your hands will be in front of you. You'll be facing the wall. But if you fail, you will fall and possibly hurt yourself very badly.
Oh, am I not on the ground? I'm standing up.
You're leaning up onto the back of the container with your arms behind your back, tethered and tied to that wall. So to pull your arms forward, you have to more or less do a flip and push your knees into that loop, if that makes sense. You have to
Okay.
do this behind your body entirely. You can't put your force onto the ground, is what I'm saying. So to do that, you would have had to have been able to move your legs through there. Instead, what you're going to do is put yourself in a very precarious situation, which is going to raise the difficulty, but it's also going to, if you do fail,
I'm not
cause
going to do
damage. All right.
I'm not going to do that. I am going to break her left thumb.
All right. So, in order to properly do this, and I know where you're going, why don't we have you, Achira, start with a either? Do you have advanced medicine by any chance?
I think the only specialization is that what you? No, I've got like a 6 in expert skills.
Would you like to use first aid then? It's going to be more difficult. It's not going to be as clean. It may not work as well as you hope, but I'll allow you to use first aid to do this as opposed to just doing damage to yourself. You're trying to do this in a way that is helpful, not just to hurt yourself, I imagine.
Yes, because basically because of what the hunter did to Roger, and the fact that we're tied up more than likely to be bait for something else, this is not a place that Achira wants to stay. So she needs to get to her hand scythe. It's too far away. This is plan A, because like plan D is waiting for this dude to come back.
All right, so go ahead and make your first aid check. I will add 1 black difficulty dice to this because you're doing it behind your back, and you're bound. But I will allow you to attempt it. Go ahead and make the roll. Also, do me a favor and roll 2 blue dice for your speed.
All right. Yikes.
So that is 4 degrees of failure. I had failed to mention at the beginning of our session, thanks to the consideration of chat, you do have an additional competency point that has been gifted through the fact that we have achieved our sub goals this week.
Being trapped in this trailer with another person after seeing Roger with like being disfigured and everything, would this trailer count as a location hazard?
Yes, I'm going to give you your imprisonment as a location hazard.
Okay,
because there is a specific danger here, and I feel that does follow suit with your abilities. So you can gain those additional competency, Achira. Okay. And how many would you like to spend to adjust your 4 failures?
I'm gonna have to spend 6 to make it 1 success.
So 6 competency points are spent. Your thumb snaps cleanly, and I need you to resist pain. So make a second roll for me. I'm not going to add any difficulty dice because you managed to succeed at your first aid, meaning that you've done this as clean as you possibly could.
Should I put any speed dice on the
No, this is only to see if you,
pain?
yeah, only to see if you shout out.
Any first aid kit that can go with that?
You do not have a first aid kit on you.
Okay.
Okay, 1 degree of failure. Are you going to keep that 1 degree?
Yeah.
You do not shout, Achira. It's only 1 degree of failure. You wince as you nearly pass out, however, biting back your urge. Every ounce of your being wants to scream in pain, but you fight it back. However, you did fall forward when you did this, and there was a thud. The metal container, as you dropped to the floor, clanged as your head hit it. What are you doing?
Getting out of here. What does it look like?
All right, your plan. Just remember what I said.
I remember, Mitchell. Achira's going to, with that hand, well, pull her hand free. With that, does that loosen the other rope around her other?
Both of your hands come free. You are in a great deal of pain. Your thumb is already turning purple as blood is trapped underneath the skin, and it's swelling very quickly. And there's an immense amount of pain in your hand, but you do manage to wiggle it free. One of your wrists is still tightly bound, but it is free from being bound to your other hand. That wrist is still attached to the wall.
Can I reach my hand scythe now with having the width of my body and my leg?
Reaching out with your leg, kicking your boot forward, you may just be able to kick your scythe closer to you. Is that what you wish to do?
Yes.
Mitchell presses his ear up against the metal wall. He seems to be intently listening. I think we're okay. Try to get it.
Achira's going for it.
You kick your boot forward, Achira. You start reaching desperately forward, stretching your entire body. You can feel the very edge of the handle underneath your toe. I'm going to call this a lift pull.
Damn.
I'm not going to impose any dice of difficulty.
Not my greatest stat. She's not a very strength-oriented person. If she took off the boot, and then you know how you can take off the boot, hold it by the laces. No, that's not as far. Okay. All right. Let's see what a lift pull does.
You have no dice of difficulty, but I also need you to roll 4 blue dice for your speed. Okay. As you are stretched out across this container, kicking your foot forward, trying to remain as quiet as possible, I assume. 2 2 degrees of success. Congratulations, Achira. As you continue to kick forward, finally your boot finds purchase on the blade, and you very carefully, painstakingly pull it towards you. And a couple of moments pass as it gets closer and closer, clattering across the steel floor. It is now in your hand. What is your intention?
Achira is going to cut the rope so that her other hand is free.
Your hand is swollen, and it actually is difficult for you to find the ability to push the force down, but eventually the rope frays and snaps. And you have both hands free, your hand scythe, and a very badly wounded hand.
Well, good thing it's the left hand.
What do you do?
Achira's gonna look over at Mitchell and then look over at the door leading out. Is then gonna go over to Mitchell and cut him free.
You cut him free, and he looks to you. Thank you. Now, he's out there. He's going to try to stop us. We've got to be careful. And he tries to stand, and you can see that he's having trouble.
Do you have anything?
I'm sorry, you look down, and you see a swollen, bloody foot that has been wrapped in dirty cloth. And he winces horribly in pain as he tries to stand, pushing himself against the wall.
Do you have anything in your bag that's worth something besides gold? Something that we can use right now?
All of the medical stuff is outside. It's in my tent. I was taking some drugs that I found, just some small painkillers and some, we think they're antibiotics. We think that it was for, fungal infection, but we think it's going to be okay. I've been able to do better. It's not infected. It doesn't feel infected. It's just painful,
Yeah, I think I understand that. Achira glances down at her hand. She's gonna bind her thumb down to her hand. Try to get some pressure off of that. Her pack, is her gun over there or anything like that, or is just the normal contents strewn all around?
You don't see your gun.
Of course.
So do you search your pack?
Don't really have time for it right now.
Do you gather your things and shove it into your pack and try to take it with you, or do you leave it where it is?
I think now is a good time for Achira to establish her little scouters pack that she always has with her. I think Achira looks at all of her things that she's collected, and let's say that she's old world thinking with things, has collected a bunch of things that she just really didn't need with her, but would help in the darker, loneliest hours of the night. Mm-hmm. And she looks at that stuff now and realizes how it was holding her back. How the things that she was really carrying with her were things that she was hoping to share with somebody else. Like maybe she has a VHS of 16 candles that she had found, and she looks at it now disdainfully. Like, who am I going to share this with? Why would I bother a Molly Ringwald VHS? She says, she thinks to herself. She's going to do a quick dig through and just pick out the things that we established that she carries with her in the future, which is was it the climbing gear, like that rope that well, rope in general, um first aid kit, her weapons, the clothes on her back, um Zippo lighter, and I think that was all that we, oh, and like a protein bar, something like that.
You gather those things. You quickly bundle them up, and without much thought, you leave behind all of the remaining vestiges of a normal life that you had clung on to for so long now, despite how utterly difficult this life has been for you already. Everything that you've lost, all starting with Blaine. The
While
man
she's been,
standing behind you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, it's just I wanted to see if Mitchell had caught up while she was doing that.
The man standing behind you is very quietly, but also very slowly, leaning up against the wall and limping his way forward. He's barely putting any weight on that foot. If we could find a stick or something, I think I could move faster.
If we're still in the camp area, 12 hours is a long time. I'm sure there's plenty of branches around to grab for you to use as a walking stick.
Yeah, I'm sure. We just got to get out of here. So, do you want me to try the door?
Yeah, you try the door, I'll cover you.
All right. And he moves forward and he presses his ear up against the metal of the door and looks at you. And he seems to be, he's following your lead very clearly. So there's a questioning look as he kind of is ready to press on it.
Well, we can't stay here, can we, Mitchell?
He takes
Remember
a deep
Luna.
breath. He takes a deep breath and he pushes. And the door doesn't open. He pushes again, leaning forward. He nods.
Is there a latch, like in the inside of the door, that needs to be lifted or something? Don't semi-trailers have that safety feature?
You do know safety features within most of these types of cargo holds have exactly what you're talking about. A small steel latch, usually towards the bottom of the floor at the door, to allow you to take the weight off. It mirrors what's on the other side of these big doors. However, it doesn't seem to have one, or if it did, it's been removed.
Well, okay then. Looks like you're gonna get your plan D after all, Mitchell. The gold that you have in your bag, is it gold bars? Something heavy that you can swing with and hit?
I mean, they're coins. They're commemorative coins. But they're heavy. I mean, they're all coated in these plastic shells. I don't know.
Okay.
I could hit with something else.
Okay. Achira's going to go for his bag. Her intention here is to get this heavier bag full of gold commemorative coins, to give that to Mitchell to have as a bludgeoning kind of weapon. She wants to make some sort of loud noise, maybe Mitchell yelling to be like, she's dead, what did you do, kill me now, like that kind of a deal, to get the hunter to open the door. She's going to crouch with her hand scythe, so either Mitchell swinging with his bag and or Achira going with her hand scythe for this dude.
Okay. So the first thing that you've asked to have happen is that Mitchell is going to shout out. After that, we're going to have you prepare. You said you were going to attack with your hand scythe when the individual arrived? from the back?
Well, both of us are going to attack.
Okay, so you want from either side of the door, correct?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I need you to roll is with the first thing, I think we're going to have you roll a stealth just to make sure that you're not seen. But then roll that with only one black dice of difficulty. And you're going to have a pair of speed dice that I'm going to have you roll with that as well.
Okay.
And I will roll for Mitchell, who is also going to make a stealth check here to see how well he can conceal himself inside of the trailer as the two of you begin to enact your plan. That's 1 degree of failure. Is there anything that you wish to do about that, Achira? It is only 1 degree of failure. It will not be catastrophic. It will affect the situation, and you can help me to narrate it, but it will most likely prevent your opponent from entering without noticing you before you attack.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, only doing 1 competency point is just going to make it a wash, which is a failure anyway. And I feel like I'm going to need to save some. So this is going to have to stand.
The door opens. There is a loud metallic grinding noise. There's some sort of lever on the other side that has been lifted. You don't think that this trailer is the same as it once was. There must have been some alterations made to the outside of it to either reinforce it or to perhaps change the latching of the door itself. It grinds and it creaks slowly open. You see fading daylight on the other side. You don't see anyone. You see the camp a little ways away. This trailer, it's on a small hill. There are a few other vehicles here. There's a lot of camouflage netting that has been stretched up around the area. There are old, broken down cars stacked on either side. What do you do?
So we don't see anybody, but they wouldn't be able to see us either because it's
That is
dark in
correct.
the trailer. There's no light.
They can't see you, you assume, but they haven't entered, which makes you believe that perhaps they heard you. And they've opened the door, but they've not entered.
Since Sachira's pack of stuff is still scattered on the along the trailer, she's going to slowly reach down, pick up something, and toss it into the back of the trailer.
To make noise
Maybe
deeper.
it's the VHS tape.
Yeah, you grab 16 candles and you fling the VHS behind you and it clatters into the back. You see a figure emerge from the other side of the door. There is a gun before them. The figure is bulky, wearing SWAT team gear. They have a paintball mask in the shape of a skull. Dark shaded lenses, you can't see any skin. They have tactical gloves on, and they are holding on to what looks like a sawed-off shotgun. At their side, you see a number of weapons attached in holsters. This figure's not particularly tall. but he is pointing the gun into the dark trailer. And as Mitchell said, along his boot, you see a knife, a large Bowie knife attached to the right leg. The figure does not enter, but stands there, scouring the darkness. You don't think that you will be remaining hidden for very long.
How close are they to the doors?
They are perhaps 10 feet away from where you're standing. They don't seem to have spotted you quite yet.
Okay, if they're 10 feet away, then Achira's going to whisper to Mitchell. Both of us. We jump. Go for the head, I'll go for the knees. This is for Luna.
Okay, yeah. And he looks to you one more time, and then he pushes on the other side of the door and rushes out towards the figure. Do you follow along?
Achira ducks down and does not spring forward. Like kind of ducks down and slithers down to the ground out of the line of fire.
You hear the shotgun. You duck down. You see Mitchell on top of this figure. The figure's on the ground. What do you do?
Now Achira goes for the figure, specifically raising the face shield and slashing the neck.
As soon as you leap down from the trailer, Mitchell rolls, points a gun at you, your gun. The masked figure with the shotgun levels it as well. Both of them are looking at you. Mitchell has a look on his face of sheer anger. I really had hopes for you, Achira. You just failed the test. And we'll come back to you. Juniper. Olive is dead. The hospital was horrible. You remember the dead pulling her away from you. That strange woman that the two of you had camped with for that night had been telling you all of those things, and she wanted to help, you thought, but Olive convinced you to run. And then you found the others, the other wild things that you had traveled with, and you thought that the hospital would be an easy score. But it's strange, Juniper. You're not as sad as you thought you might be. You miss your twin sister. But some small part of you feels like you don't need her any longer. I mean, she's all that you had. You watched her as the Romeros ripped her away from you, but now you feel free and sort of new. It's been long enough that perhaps you can live alone by yourself. You haven't lost any time recently. You remember everything. You haven't woken up in strange places. No one else has been hurt around you. You've been raiding more and more of these new buildings that the others have been pointing out to you. You've been able to find them. They're along these steel roads from the old world. People are building small places, cribs to hold things in. Someone keeps building them anyway. And even though they put big doors and locks on them, if you're able to find them and able to get into them, they have a lot of things inside of them. Useful things, food and other supplies. But the thing that you like most, Juniper, is that some of these buildings have the tapes in them. You like watching them. You and the others, the wild things that you've traveled with in the past, some of them have been shown how to work these devices, and now you know how to work them. And you can watch these little windows into the world that you never knew. It's a very strange world. Things aren't the way that they are now. People are always clean. No one carries guns with them all the time. Some do. But it was a different place. So you found another of these buildings. You don't know what the glyphs on the wall mean, but someone has painted large symbols on it. It was well hidden. It took you many hours to find it, to dig it loose. And then getting through the door, you and some of the others had to pry at it for hours, hammering away at those locks that they placed on the doors. But eventually, all of you made it inside. And it was the biggest haul of items that you'd ever found before in one of these places. There was entire boxes of food that was sealed in these strange metal packages, many of them. And it was good. It didn't taste like much of the other food that you scavenge. It was different. You fell asleep, though. You knew you shouldn't have. You knew you should have stopped watching the tapes and left. The loud machine that provides the energy to light up the tapes, that kept running. Eventually, it died on its own, and you were asleep and didn't notice. When you wake up, you see the sun coming in through the open doorway. There are dried leaves everywhere as the wind has blown them into this small building. There's a woman there. And she's pointing a gun at you. She's dressed in camo pants and has a heavy-looking flak jacket that has been patched up quite a bit. She's got a fur collar and fur combat boots. She looks serious, but she's clearly an echo. She's older. She's got bright hazel eyes, black skin and hair, but the tips of her hair are dyed red, and they fade like fire into an orange color. She's holding a gun at you. And then you see the second person behind her. A young woman, not much older than you, perhaps. She's got blonde hair and color that has been streaked in it, and she's dressed like many of the others that you know. She looks like one of the wild ones, not one of the others. The woman holds the gun to you. There are bags of food and makeshift batteries scattered everywhere. You don't see any of the others, it's just you. And the woman holds the gun to you, Juniper. She's at the foot of the door, blocking your way out. What do you do?
Hi. Hello. Hello. Just taking a little nap, and I'll be right out of your way.
You know? Nope. No, not so fast. I want to have a few words with you, all right? I'm not going to hurt you.
Like pointing gun at me feels like you might do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right there. I do have a gun, but I need to know if you're armed. I didn't want you waking up, filling this place with bullets. If you've got a gun or something, or a weapon, why don't you just put it down? Put it to the side. And then we'll have a nice conversation, you and I.
I don't have a gun. And I don't have, there's like snacks here, I think, on the floor, maybe. I didn't do that either. Weapon. I'm just like thinking about the stuff in my bag.
Do you clearly have anything on you, Juniper, like a weapon that's visible?
I probably have that crowbar sticking out of my pack, and I don't think at this point I don't have a bow and arrow at this point. The weapons I have have a knife, a crowbar, hand axe. So you could probably see like a bit of crowbar and a bit like a handle of an axe like sticking out of this like military book bag.
Yeah. All right, look, all I want you to do is just, why don't you stay away from that bag, all right?
And then you will also stay away from the bag?
I'm not trying to rob you. You are robbing us.
I didn't do anything.
It's all right. You were hungry, but you've been robbing us now for quite a while, right?
Was it me though?
I think it was. And she like holsters the gun and looks at you. Look, they call me Red. Ruby Red, if you want to be formal about it. This building, this belongs to the group that I travel with, and you're stealing from us, and that means you're stealing from a lot of people who need these things.
Well, if they need them, why do you leave them here and not eat them?
It's a little more complicated than that. Am I wrong in assuming that you live out here in the wild by yourself?
I mean, there's lots of people there were people here before.
All right. You what's your name? Let's start with that. What's your name?
Junie. Is my name?
Junie is your name?
Yep, that one. Mm-hmm.
Junie. All right. Well, look, Junie. These things are left here so that others like me and Stacy here are able to take these things other places, places that need these things. We feed people who don't have food to eat, and they trade us for other things that we then take to groups that need those things. And we keep trading so that everybody can do better. And if you keep robbing from us and breaking our doors, and I don't even know how you find these, because these are really well hidden. Our stations are not, this isn't a sloppy operation. We, 10-4 and us, we've been working at this for a while. And if you keep doing this, there's not going to be anything to give to those people. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk it out as opposed to you or I, coming to blows over this whole thing.
I did not understand a lot of what you said because you used a lot of words that I don't know. And I don't really know what you mean by other people because I don't see a lot of people. Unless you mean the dead screamy things. Do you have any more of the things for the box? The boxes that go in the box?
You like the VHS tapes. Yeah, that's not surprising. A lot of kids your age really like the VHS tapes. What she turns as the blonde girl kind of pulls at her sleeve. Like, do you want me to, maybe like give it a shot? Like I can do this for sure. Yeah. The blonde girl steps up to you and kind of leans close, June. Like, how's it going? I'm Malibu Stacy. And for sure, like, I understand. Like, out here, the scrubs are trying to kill you. And I mean, like, of course, you don't know what to do. And, like, you're hungry and you're finding stuff. But, like, Red and 10-4 and, like, they can help you bug out and, like, totally open a can if things go south, Like, they could be a place where you could find like a home skillet and it could be real cool beans.
I'm fine. I'm feeling fine though. I don't really need. I mean, there was a group here before. Actually, it wasn't just me. But we don't hang out forever, just like here and there. And I don't see why we need a group to stay with forever. It's been fine, just like this.
Right, for sure. Like you want to claim some dibs on some things, make those things your things, and then just be outie. I get it, for sure. But what if you could help others do the same, and not be around trifling people who are like gonna hurt you, because they want to help, for sure.
That seems like the sort of thing I've heard from other people who've tried to kill me. So I'm good. I will just leave and maybe take my snacks, and then you can have your weird house that no one lives in, and then we will never talk of this again because I'll probably never see you again. Also, probably you should stop building important things that you're trying to hide, like next to a major road thing. It's pretty easy to find. Like, it's not that we're like, I don't even know how old I am, but I'm pretty sure like some of the people with me that can find these are like 10. So
Red sort of smiles behind Stacy at that and looks at you. Yeah, you got a good point there, kid. It's too bad you don't want to stick around and help us hide them better, because we've got a lot of tapes, and y'all could be of help. We could work together and do some good things. But I understand.
How many more tapes are there? I thought I saw them all.
Oh, no, not at all. Stacy kind of bumps in. There's so many, like, I can't even count them. There are so many. You'll be tripping. It's crazy. There's so many.
Can I watch them if I help you?
Red smiles and walks over to the counter and takes a granola bar, opens it, and hands it to you.
I shove the whole thing in my face all at once.
And
it's mine now. You can't take it. It's mine now. You can't take it back.
She smiles, and Malibu Stacy laughs as she drops to the ground and opens up a pack. And inside of it, you see a whole stack of these VHS tapes. We'll come back to you. Rowan. You're moving through the streets of Pittsburgh. It's been 9 months since everything went south. Your unit has done everything that it can. New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. All the intel that you have is that they're gone. Pittsburgh, however, for whatever reason, maybe it's the rivers, all three of them, the way that they border much of the city central, has managed to hold out. A good number of the military here have barricaded themselves across the street. They've enacted martial law. You and the rest of your unit are moving through a number of these streets. You have 2 other soldiers to your right and your left. You're clearing out hostiles. The hostiles, however, are not the dead. They're the living. Individuals that within the course of the military occupation of the city have begun to assail and attack the outer perimeter of the military outposts, demanding vaccinations and food and support. There simply isn't enough. Hundreds of thousands of people have been shuttered away from the supportive arm of the military faction that has taken over the city. You and a few of your colleagues are the last vestige of order. There are a number of ranking officers that have been giving orders. No one really talks about how far up that chain of command goes any longer. There are a lot of rumors that DC is still standing as well, but nobody's certain. Communications have been greatly hampered. The electric grids have gone down, and most of the radio communications have only brought bad news. Outside of the small, secure space of the city itself, the dead have come back to life, and they will not die. They are an opponent far worse than anything that you or any within your unit have faced before. Anything short of a clear headshot allows them to continue on in this sickening parody of life as they stumble forward, ripping the flesh off of any who they come across. They are dangerous. They are spreading this virus. And things have become very, very desperate. You were overseas not too long ago. When you were called back to the States, you thought that perhaps you'd never have to fight again. Perhaps you paid your debt to society and you were able to move forward, take the benefits that military service provides someone in your position, and move forward. But you've always enjoyed service, and you've always been very good at it. When things started to spread on the news, you began to think more about who you were, about what it meant to be a part of the United States military. As a woman, you had been shut out of so much. You were mocked, harassed. In many eyes, you were seen as a joke. But that made you work all the harder. You proved yourself. And just when the military seemed to be backing down on so many of their archaic ways of thought, everything fell apart and it stopped mattering. Survival became the most important thing. Survival and shielding whatever might be left of civilization. Your duty to the United States of America, but more importantly, your service to yourself and those that you fight alongside. Your automatic rifle is pressed against your shoulder. It's reassuring as you and the two other soldiers continue to sweep the area. Individuals from time to time rush towards you. They don't stand a chance. They're quickly mowed down. It's become perfunctory, and you've lost count, but you've tried to keep that count. Around your neck, a growing necklace of bottle caps, pull tabs from cans, your trophies. Your mission is simple. On the outskirts of this fenced area, a number of insurgents have opened a weakness in the fencing. They've pulled it down. You need to clear the area, repair the fencing, deter any others from approaching, and return back to base. You have a radio, you have your rifle, you have a sidearm, and you have a number of flashbang grenades. The rest of your unit are equally outfitted. You're taking point. What is your intention?
I look to the rest of my crew that's with me and go, all right, guys, we got the orders. You know what to do. Just take out as many of these assholes as you can, and let's get that gap closed before, we get overrun by people who don't know what they're doing. No good deed goes unpunished. We try to save their lives, try to take care of them, and they just get impatient. Fuck them.
Copy that. Roger. The two begin flanking on either side. They're keeping a sharp eye. Rowan, I'd like for you to make a spot listen check for me, please.
That is 2 degrees of failure.
There's a quick blast of radio chatter, something that's happening 3 blocks down. And as you're listening to that, you fail to notice what's happening in front of you as you and the rest of the unit continue to push forward. A doorway breaks open. 2 individuals rush out of it. They're raggedly dressed and they have masks on, tied around their faces, black bandanas. They're holding guns, and they begin firing upon you and your unit. What is your intention?
Can I dodge behind something to get out of the way of the shots?
Yeah, so you can duck behind a series of air conditioning machines that are based off to one side of this alley. They're large enough that the metal structure will provide you some cover. However, to do that, I'm going to have to ask that you make a dodge roll and that you add 1 black die of difficulty due to the fact that you did not see them coming. Also, give me 2 blue die to determine exactly how quickly you perform this action.
That is 3 degrees of failure, but I'm going to use 4 competency points to make it 1 degree of success.
With 4 pushing yourself into 1 degree of success, you manage to just barely duck behind the air conditioning unit as gunshots erupt. And you could tell immediately that these are civilians. They don't have any formal training. They've somehow gotten a hold of these guns and are firing wildly after having burst through the doorway. You realize that perhaps they were watching you approach down the alleyway through the window that is on the side of the door. And as the gunshots ring out, you manage to duck out of the way. However, one of your unit drops to the ground as one of the bullets has pierced through their neck. And they are gurgling now, struggling, trying to move forward, clawing it for air, choking on their own blood. The other soldier, however, does manage to duck behind a series of large dumpsters that are on the opposite side of the alley around you. You and the rest of your unit have been split apart. What is your intention now, Rowan?
Do I see where the rest of my unit is?
Other than the 2 soldiers that you were walking down this alley with, everyone else is much further back. They are moving in after the 2 or the 3 of you make your way to the fence and scout it out.
I grab a hold of my walkie and ring back to them, and I'm just like, we have a civilian militia, it looks like. We got 1 man down. I don't think they're going to be too much trouble. I think that might have just been a lucky shot. They're probably not trained in any sort. So, I mean, all holds bar, just fucking knock them out, man. Like, we have a lot more than they do.
Lieutenant Gassimow, drop some fire down there. Cover it out, and we'll come in.
Roger that. And she will wait for like a moment before like looking for breaks in their shooting to like see, like hear when they're reloading or anything like that, to jump up and start actually shooting at them.
Okay, so you wait. You do hear everything is quiet for a moment, and you're gonna stand and try to fire.
Not necessarily stand, but I'll kneel and I'll put the gun on the top of the AC unit just so I can duck back down if
All right. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of cover for that, and you're going to aim. So go ahead and, make your shot with your long gun, and you can, I will add no difficulty dice to it, but I do need 2 blue dice as well for your speed to go alongside that, please. There's going to be gunfire that is returned towards you.
3 degrees of success.
Okay, so you hit one of them square in the chest, and their body convulses. They drop down. The other then, instead of firing, changes the course of their action and drops behind a series of trash cans, now also in cover. You don't think you hit them, but you certainly hit and killed the other opponent.
I'm going to try and throw a flashbang grenade at them to drive them out.
All right. You pull the pin on the grenade. You toss it into the general area of the other opponent. You can see the other soldier across the way has positioned himself and has the gun leveled. The flashbang hits the ground. Make a, let's have you make a throw. Yeah, go ahead and make a throw check here for me, and add 2 blue dice, please, as well.
I'll use 2 competency points to make that 1 success.
All right. So you, with 1 success, you do hit close to your target. There's a bright light. Your unit, the other half of your unit, the other soldier, stands just enough so that he can get a clear shot as your opponent runs away from the bright light and the heavy gas and explosion that fills the alleyway. As soon as that silhouette is seen, there is one clean shot, and the opponent drops to the ground like a rag doll. The space is cleared, it seems. What would you like to do?
I look over at my my one remaining associate that is with me. You know, all right, get all the weapons off these assholes. Get all the ammo too. It's scavenge everything you can. The less that falls back into their hands, the better. And let's try and push forward. We got to get that gate closed.
The other soldiers looking down at the dead soldier. What? We're just going to leave Jones?
I mean, do you have a stretcher to put him on? We're going to have to come back for him, man.
Copy that. Sorry, Lieutenant. And immediately starts grabbing the weapons as ordered. And the two of you then begin making your way back to the fence. And as you pass through the alleyway, Rowan, you see the fence. And it's not quite as the mission briefing described. Civilians stand around the side of this fence. Many of them are armed. They hold torches and flashlights and other implements. But it's a mob. And there are soldiers that have been strung up and are hung by the neck along the side of the fence, just off the ground. They're dead now, but they're not dead. Their gray faces as they reach forward, grasping, clawing out at the air. This angry mob has killed these soldiers and made a barricade of their bodies, using them as a weapon. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we will continue on with our story. Thank you for being with us. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Hunters Entertainment on twitch.tv. If you're just joining us, this is Outbreak, Rag and Bone. There is a static crackle across the radio. Rowan, your body is racked with pain. It is due to the wounds that you have recently received. The arrow in the back from Juniper. The explosion of the grenade. You barely survived. You pulled your body away, clawing through the ash and debris. That Romero, that thing, that abomination, it was unstoppable. Huge. It spoke. It said Achira very, very clearly. You're certain that it is quite dead now, although you've seen these things take an unbelievable amount of damage before being truly put into the ground. You're cautiously optimistic that it never will return again. That thing aside, there are bigger dangers for you and all of the individuals that you are surrounded by. The others of the Ender line have become a problem. The Citadel, the organization that you work with, has struggled forward and has done many good things. You've secured your boundaries and your borders. You have a stronghold that is flourishing. The Ender's line is a crucial portion of that survival. At least it was. Now, it seems that the Citadel is becoming rather self-sufficient. You've made additional alliances with the caravan and some of the other communities and are able to gather together more or less everything that you need to sustain yourselves. Additionally, as the Citadel is full of mostly military trained individuals, many of them whom you have served with all the way back beyond Pittsburgh, even. Some of them you've served with overseas. Longtime allies and friends. And together, you and the others have formed a very, very stable environment. As stable as can be found out here. You've seen the way that others claw and scrape together what they need to be able to make it through each and every day. You've seen these dirty, ragged, wild children clawing through the remains of civilization, eating the scraps and garbage that is thrown out before them. The Citadel stands for order. It brings hope to those who need it. Sometimes it has to redefine what the conditions of survival mean. Not everyone likes that. And while no one would call the Citadel particularly kind or easygoing, whoever's responsible for this, is particularly twisted. And given what you and Riggs and the others have done to establish order, that's saying something. The severed head is on the ground now. The radio has been brought to you. You've been bandaged very roughly, but you are in an immense amount of pain. Your wounds are weeping, and you're still not even certain if you're going to survive the next couple of weeks. An infection could be the end of it for you. However, as you sit there, holding on to this radio that the others have brought you, looking down at this severed head, you begin to wonder, who is it that you're dealing with? And why did they feel that this message had to be sent to you this way? Crackling from the radio, the voice particularly seemed interested in one thing. Something that Chira was carrying. Chira was holding something of value to these people. And now they want it. There is a small buzz and a hiss. Lampwick, they've given you coordinates. They've told you to do what you do best. Convince the others to come to the location that you give them. The radio is handed to you, Lampwick. What do you do?
I press the button. I'm speaking through it. Who's on the other side? Who am I speaking to?
His voice sounds vaguely familiar. This is Rowan.
Rowan.
Is this
Well. It is indeed.
Fancy meeting you around here. I was hoping you'd still be alive.
Well, it's good to see that you are too. In fact, meeting is exactly what I want. We need to meet up again. We have a lot to talk about.
Can I ask you a question, Lampwick?
Please do.
Just tell me, like, Are you being held captive by these assholes? Are we gonna have to blow them up, or are you like there of your own volition?
That is what we have a lot to talk about. I'm safe right now, and I want to make sure that you all stay safe. And I have some news for you. Our time apart has proved to be enlightening, and I'm given the opportunity to discuss it with you face to face. Are you with Achira? Are you with Juniper?
No. I tried to protect Chira and Juniper, I believe her name was, the one with the scar. They were getting hassled by a very, very large Romero, and well, the little one, same one who killed the doctor, you remember her, decided to shoot me in the back, dropped a grenade on my face because of it. Not real happy about it. But no, they are not with us. I'm not entirely certain where they've gone off to. They might already be dead, considering half the forest is burned down. But what was it your friend was saying? You're looking for something of Achira's. What is it in particular? Perhaps we can go back and scout for it if we don't have it in just the shit we grabbed when we were on our way out.
Well, if anything that was in her possession, her pack in particular, but most importantly, in addition to that, it would be great if you found Achira.
Now, all right, now see, I'm fine with bringing you stuff that's hers if we find her stuff, but you're sending us on a whole nother mission there, and that is a new ball game, my friend. The Citadel doesn't really answer to anybody.
I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying if it's within reach, let's meet up. We need her stuff, and as many people there with you, bring them. I'm telling you, I have information that you want to know.
All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will send word back to the Citadel. We will leave here and head back there tonight. I will gather everybody up and talk to the powers that be. See if we can't send another crew down here to scout for Achira for you. Again, I'm not promising to find anything.
Do you have any idea where they might be heading? Did they tell you where their destination was? Has it changed?
No, I honestly, if you know of a destination that they were headed, it might be the same one. Might not, but we didn't have too much conversation. There was a lot more action going on in the brief moments that we shared together in our recent past. But ever since then, haven't seen them since the mines.
Got it. All right. Well, nonetheless, I'm going to give you some coordinates. And if you want to rendezvous there, then that's where we need to meet. You go check in with your bosses, and once they've given you the go-ahead, then I will then give you the coordinates, and we will move towards seeing each other face to face.
That sounds good. When you want to do this? You want to give us a couple of days to look for the girl, or you want us to meet up as soon as possible?
At that point, I'm going to take a moment, and I'm going to look over to who's next to me and kind of see if there's a time frame.
Yeah, so you look over, and he's been standing there the entire time, listening as you spoke. His name is Brother Noah Hayworth, and he is a middle-aged man with a very serene smile upon his face. And he looks at you and clears his throat. Let them know, should they wish to parley, they should be within those coordinates within 1 day's time. We shall not be tarrying long. And if we choose to not be found, they will not find us. And we will assume that they do not wish to find the peace that we offer them.
Got it. I say back into the walkie. You got a day, and then they're gonna have me move somewhere else. It would be nice to see a familiar face. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the coordinates as, I guess, a good faith gesture on their part. So here they are, and I'm gonna say specifically where we're gonna be.
Rowan will kind of motion to Riggs to write that down when she gets the coordinates. She goes, all right. Well, that being said, we better get a move on, and I will see you at some point within the next 24 hours, Mr. Lampwick.
You got it.
And with that, the bloody radio crackles and dies. The light on the top sort of flickers and fades. Lampwick, you are left with your new family. Rowan, what is your intention here? Do you search the area, or do you and the others leave as you had intended originally? The dead are everywhere. And while there are others within your group that are suppressing a number of them so that you can still escape, you do not think that the vehicles will have much more time before they're overrun.
I look over at Riggs again. I go, well, here's the thing. We can't go searching for her now. I think it's best to search for her afterwards. Let us parlay with them. If she turns up in the next 24 hours, great. If not, when we meet with them, we let them know that we're going to send out search parties to come and find her. But I don't think we stand a chance trying to look through here for her right now.
Yeah. You know, I don't like the smell of any of this. I've got to be real fucking honest here. They sent a dead thing holding a severed head with a radio shoved inside of it.
Yeah.
The way that I'm looking at it, that is not an invitation to fucking peace. That's a threat.
It is, but it means they know something we don't.
Yeah, maybe. All right, fuck it. You know what? We pull up stakes here. We get the fuck out of Dodge. This is too dangerous out here. I'm not going to put us into harm's way any further than we've already been out here. This is three-ways clusterfuck as far as I'm concerned. Our best bet right now, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Rowan, you look like shit. I'm just going to say it outright. Appreciate everything that you bring to the table here, but we need to get you some serious medical attention because I'm not even sure if that shit's going to be all right. Regardless,
I'm not even sure if I have an eyeball anymore. So, I mean, yeah.
I don't even know how you're fucking making jokes. You're a total badass. My personal goddamn hero. But I'm telling you now, everything that's going on out there, I can peel off some scouts. We can send them after these fucking pains in our ass. And if that wild one or a Chira are still out there, they'll find them. I've got some good hunters. We'll put them to task.
I think that's wise. Yeah, let's go run this by the rest of the group and see what they think.
You stay fucking there, Rowan. If you move, I'm afraid your intestines are going to pop out of your side or something. I'll go tell everybody. Let's get you back to camp ASAP.
Valid.
So with that, is there anything else that you want to do, Rowan?
No, I think she'll pretty much just lay back and try and heal and let her group take her back to the Citadel.
Okay, yeah, so the engines kick up and the lights from these old, refurbished trucks and jeeps and other heavily altered military vehicles peel out. They go the opposite direction that you'd come in from, so that you can kind of sidetrack around the rail line and pull yourself back into an area that you can then begin to make your way back to the Citadel, past any of the other areas, and diverting attention from the horde that's behind you. The dead, as far as the eye can see, these shuffling silhouettes in the darkness. And you do see some gunfire. You see some of the Citadel members firing down upon it, and they just barely pull out of there. It's a 5-alarm fire, to be certain, as far as the dead are concerned. And as you peel away, you look down, and the severed head of Aria Kantos is left in the dirt behind as you and your group escape. Elsewhere, inside of the horde, deep within the forest that you had found a small grove to camp within before this all went horribly wrong, before that thing arrived and attacked all of you, before the revelation that it not only attacked you, but it had been stalking Achira through the countryside for so long now. The remaining survivors are hidden deep within the trees, scattered quite a distance away from each other. Achira, let's start with you. You had strapped yourself to the tree, had you not?
Yes.
And we had been making some endurance checks to see how well you'd be able to maintain your position there. You have a nasty wound.
I have a flesh wound that was 1 point over my threshold that's been holding over. I did some first aid on it, but it's still there.
And it's been hard for you to be comfortable in this tree for this extended period of time. The lights from the vehicles that were brought by the Citadel disappear as they pull away. You've already done the work to assess the direction that you need to travel to make it to the way station that was left behind a long time ago, the one that you had been sent to by 10-4. You're to rendezvous there, supposedly in this safe house, which is perhaps a day and a half's travel away, is a radio. And there, 10-4 was going to tell you where the rest of the Ender's line have moved to. They were unable to stay at Grey Ridge. They'd moved on after you and Juniper had been sent off closer to Pittsburgh to find a contact of 10-4's known as the Gravedigger, or Digger. He was found, and you'd begun making your way back. However, all of this went sideways then. You're now in a tree. The dead are swarming in countless numbers below. You're strapped to that tree, but you feel your muscles ache as the wound in the side of your leg continues to send shocks of pain down the right side of your body. What would you like to do?
How close are the other trees? Like, is there a tree that has thicker branches near me where I can not have to be strapped to it, where I could just kind of like lay back and wait?
You assess the other trees around you. I'll allow you to make either a search or a spot listen.
I'll do a spot listen.
A little less exact. It will give you a general idea, but yes, it would be easier for you to make a spot listen check. We've already established that you are in a location hazard, so you will be receiving those competency points as well.
Ooh. Huh.
A rare sight. That is 5 degrees of success. I will allow you to spend 2 of those And then I will allow you to use the other 3 to safely move across to that tree if you would like.
Yes. I need a better perch. This one is not working out and I'm about to fall out of it, so I've got to move.
You assess the trees around your situation, your current location, and you spot a very large, twisted oak tree. Luckily, a number of its branches are intertwined with this one. While it will take you some time, perhaps an entire hour, you can safely navigate the branches, make your way across, and find yourself in a much more secure tree, one that you could perhaps even sleep in for the night.
I will take as long as it needs to be taken.
I will be noting the fact that you have opted to take an additional amount of time in taking this action as the dead continue to swarm beneath you. The troubling part of your situation, Achira, seems to be that the dead are not migrating any longer. They seem to be walking in circles, roaming the area now without intention or direction. It seemed when the others were here, when the Citadel was making noise, it felt as if the entire horde might just follow after. But as far as you can tell, this ocean of the dead isn't going anywhere.
Groovy.
Juniper, deeper in the forest, further away, Digger looks desperately over at you. He's been keeping a sharp eye on you. He knows that something is wrong. Olive is no longer here. It's just you.
So I see the same thing, I think, probably that Achira does, that the dead are not moving. They're chilling.
About an hour after the Citadel members leave in their vehicles, you notice that the dead are no longer passing through the area, but seem to be shuffling around in circles, aimlessly.
I want to see if I can spot anywhere in the distance where there's like a pile of dry leaves, something that would catch on fire. My intention is, if I find something like that, I'd like to shoot an arrow with that is lit on fire at it and create a distraction so we can escape. Doing it.
You're going to light an arrow on fire and try to create a distraction.
If I can find something that looks burnable in the distance, so it doesn't just go and go out.
Yes, as I've described, it is currently late autumn. There are plenty of dried leaves on the ground, piles of them. You would potentially set a great deal of things on fire. However, there is already a fire burning in the area where the explosion occurred. Now, the dead are roaming around that fire in a greater intensity than they are anywhere else, as the remains of the flipped over truck continues to crackle. However, rather than passing along the small embers and the glow of the fire, it doesn't seem to be traveling very far. It just seems to be stuck in the grove where you and the others had camped out. If you would like, you could try to start another fire.
Sure. What could possibly go wrong with this idea?
All right. So if you're going to light an arrow, just go ahead and make your bow shot.
Okay.
And, if you, depending on the degrees of success that you have, we can barter those for a successful action. Do me a favor, however.
Oh, I roll it. What?
I'll roll it for you. I'm going to roll a white die for your depletion.
Okay, that's fine.
You do not need to worry about depletion.
Actually, okay, I'm gonna say one was already rolled with it because it was up there from last week. So
Good.
depletion 2.
Yeah, you need to roll your depletion with your bow to ensure that you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So without a problem, then you have again 5 degrees of success. I'm going to allow you to negotiate those degrees of success in a way that benefits you. Now, of course, you hit the perfect pile of leaves. They set on fire. What else can we do to establish this as a critical success?
Ooh, what I light on fire is y'all are gonna Cheer's gonna beat the crap out of me. So we left all our stuff out there.
Yes.
No one took their packs.
Right. Achira's
If
things
my-
were taken, though. There was a
Oh,
number
okay.
of things that were taken by the Citadel.
Okay. Is my stuff still there? Or is basically I'm
Yes.
looking for is any of the food out there?
Yeah, there's a couple of bags that have been searched but have been dumped out, and it is all
Perfect.
food, water, heavy things that the Citadel didn't want to carry and left behind. Anything of value or anything unique, like a gun or weaponry or VHS tapes, all of that was taken.
Okay. When I shoot my bow and arrow, it leads a little path to some food, and now there's like a little barbecue smell happening, kind of back towards our camp. So I think that would attract more Romeros to go back there because there's like some cooking happening by accident. Is that how fire works?
No, yeah, you set it on fire. Your packs burn, and there are some old MREs that were taken out of the way station that you had been in before. You had been saving them. Also, there is a number of the dried squirrels that had been brought along from Digger's camp. So there is the smell of burning meat now in the air, and the dead begin congregating around the camp in a greater intensity. And they begin milling about, pushing into one another, and some of them actually set on fire.
Perfect. Even better.
And so there are burning Romeros now that are walking around this area. And it has done a great deal to lighten the amount of Romeros around your trees. Digger looks over at you and then points down.
I think I know what thumbs up is, so I do that, and I want to wait for an opening and climb down, stealthy.
He climbs down without saying a word. Digger is silent, and remember, his arm is mangled from the attack, and he's bleeding heavily. And while he was in the tree, you can see that he had cut the circulation off on his arm and had bandaged himself fairly heavily using scraps of fabric that he had. He doesn't seem to be exhibiting any pain, and the wholly average and strange bearded man looks to you, holds his finger over his lips, and points away from the rest of the camp, motioning you to come along with him as he begins silently stalking along the leaves. However, you notice that the direction that he's trying to move with you is away from the camp, away from the road, away from the rest of the area where the others were. What do you do?
If there's time, I just take one of the tips of my arrows and I draw a little arrow in the direction we're going in case Achira. Juniper is still friends with Achira, so I would like her to know where we're going, and I don't know where she is. So I draw an arrow in the direction we're going on a tree, and then I scoot. I go with Digger.
You scrape into the bark of the tree, and some of the dead that are still kind of milling about begin to rustle. And you finish the etching, and Digger appears right next to you. Places his hand on your hand and shakes his head.
So I didn't do it, or I stopped midway.
You did it. You did
okay,
it.
I did do it. Okay.
You did it, but you could also see that while they you didn't draw their attention, that if you continue to make noise, the dead may begin to see you, because you're still in the middle of it. It's just not as crowded as it was, and knowing what Digger's skill set is, he seems to be able to walk pretty easily through the dead when they're not aggressive.
Okay. I follow him and stealthily as I can.
He is keeping a sharp eye on you, and he's moving in front of you very quietly, but you can see that he's obviously not putting any sort of strain on his arm. He's holding on to the spear that he was carrying, or I'm sorry, the shovel that he was carrying, but he's holding it in his left hand. The shovel has been sharpened so that it is a bladed weapon.
If there's time, like while we're walking, to do a first aid on him, I'd like to try.
You certainly can try, but the first thing that I need you to do is, if you're going to follow along, because he's ahead of you right now. I need you to make a stealth check, and you're going to add 2 black dice of difficulty to that stealth check, because you are surrounded by the dead, and there are dead leaves behind you and underneath you. So any step that you take might have a twig or a branch underneath it, and you have to move carefully and quietly to not draw their attention. They're only perhaps 20 feet away from you. So go ahead and make a stealth roll.
Do I need a depletion die also?
No, because you're not using a weapon that would deplete. So
I see.
Just the speed die.
No gear or kit, huh? Nope.
Unless you have something special.
I have tools that are not good for walking. I don't know. Nope. I don't have anything.
All right. So
oh my god. Oh no.
Juniper, that is 5 degrees of failure. And that's
okay.
you rolled 101.
That's it's pretty wild. We're gonna call that roll 20's revenge. I'm gonna go ahead.
Well so far.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoot. Ugh, I don't want to do this. I'm gonna go ahead and use 6 of my competency points, which means I have 1 left. So that's 1 success.
The leaves underneath your feet crumple, and you almost break a branch beneath your foot. However, you feel a hand on your leg, and it pushes your foot to the side, and you see that Digger is next to you again. He's turned back, and then he points a little further down. The 2 of you continue, and it takes hours for you to escape the confines of this horde. Do you continue the entire way with him? Because you are being led far away from the remains of that camp and anywhere that Chira might have been.
I think I continue with him, but I do stop every now and then to draw, like, whether it's carving a little arrow or like just moving like some rocks into like a little triangle, pointing one, arrow, I guess, triangle points in all the directions.
I'm gonna have you to make 2 checks for me then.
Okay.
And those 2 checks will represent the time that you spend setting some marker for Achira to follow after if she tries to track you. So go ahead and make another stealth check.
Can I use my tools since I'm like?
Yes. If you're building something or scraping something, you can justify using the tool.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and make a stealthy use of your tools as you are leaving a marker that can be found by Achira should she decide to follow after you.
All right. Three degrees of success.
All right. You have made a marker out of some stones that is in the shape of an arrow. Clearly, it will be seen if somebody's passing this way. Make a final roll, the same thing as before, and that will determine the markers that you've left behind for Achira.
You know, now that we're doing this, just like table talk, something bad's gonna find those arrows and definitely kill me, but it's fine. Okay, that's 3 failures, though.
All right, so your final arrow that you left, that's only 3 degrees of failure. You have 1 competency point left, is that correct?
Yes.
I will buy those 3 degrees of failure from you, Juniper, for a 25 risk apiece. and you could then spend a competency to allow somebody to be able to follow your trail completely, because the alternative here is that they will most likely lose your trail when they get to this point.
Okay, I'll do it. I'm sorry, everybody. I know it's so much risk right now. It's bad. It's bad. Juniper wants a chair to find her, so I do the thing.
My risk is very healthy.
It's yeah, got a life of its own.
Especially because our friends, the other survivors that are joining us tonight, have made some very specific decisions.
Oh,
Some of those decisions have given me additional risk.
Thanks, chat.
With 1 degree of success, you make a final marker, Juniper, and you and Digger escape the horde. As morning begins to crest over the horizon, you're tired, but you're used to this sort of exertion. You, I believe, are unwounded, but you have a single point of viral. Is that correct?
Yes.
Digger has led you forward quietly without saying a word, walking very slowly through the wilderness for over 2 hours. The sun has risen. Neither of you have said a word, and Digger has ensured that the two of you are walking in single file. He leads you to a stream, and then he turns around. I'm going to go and see if I can scout the area over this way, and you should wash yourself as thoroughly as possible. You and your clothes. I saw what happened, and that thing wasn't clean. It was sick. You might be sick now, too.
You're not looking that great yourself. Maybe you should sit and do some first aid also. And I'll do my first aid, and yeah, great. Yeah. Sure, but yeah, I'll clean up.
He looks to his arm, and then he looks to you. Clean up first, and I'll come back, and then you can fix my arm.
Okay, deal.
All right, I'll be back. And he turns and he kind of walks off into the forest around you, and you're alone.
Never say those words in a scary game. Okay, I try to do wash. Would that be a first aid?
So yeah, go ahead and perform a first aid on yourself as you are trying to clean and sanitize yourself entirely. It has been hours since you were in contact with the contagion, so you're uncertain as to whether or not there's anything else that you can do. But certainly having the clothing soaked in the gore of that abomination, that Romero that you had faced, can't be a good thing.
It's only gonna get worse. That's 4 degrees of failure. I have no competency left, so I'm just gonna turn into a zombie, I guess.
Yeah, so you're scrubbing yourself, and you're scrubbing your clothes, and you're trying to get everything clean, but you do not remove any viral from your character sheet. You're going to carry that 1 viral.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. We'll come back to you. It takes about 2 hours for you to get to the safe house. Rowan, they've made calls over the radio. You've heard the chatter. The whiskey or the moonshine has nearly knocked you on your ass. However, though you think you passed out for a solid hour of that trip, the bumps and all of the ragged road ahead of you won't allow you to sleep. Every time your body hits the back of that truck, lightning works its way through your body as your mangled and torn flesh screams in agony. half of your face has been reduced to hamburger. Your side is burnt, an entire arm, part of your leg. It could have been so much worse. You're lucky to be here. But a few hours in, they do make their way to the safe house. And without hesitation, a number of the Citadel medics who have arrived here rush out, carefully put you onto a stretcher, and they take you in to see the doc. It's rather unfortunate. Dr. Espinosa would have been a much better choice. They call him Doc. He was a vet back in the day, specializing specifically in racehorses. But he has a particular set of skills, and this is a little further along than the basic military first aid and medical attention that the rest of the crew would be able to dole out to you. Whenever something's bad enough, they call in Doc, and he does everything that he can. He's a pasty, sort of pudgy man. He has gray hair. Most of it's gone across the top, and he has a patchy goatee, sort of a permanently red face. He looks quite a bit like a ragged Santa Claus. And he nearly spits out the tea that he's drinking when they bring you in. I'll be damned. How did she... Oh, what the... How is she alive? Really, Doc? That's what you gotta say? I'm sorry. Are you with us, Rowan?
Yeah, give it to me straight, Doc. Am I gonna be this ugly forever?
He chuckles nervously, and he turns, nearly knocking over a tray of medical tools. Riggs grabs him and is whispering to him in the corner. You can't hear what's being said. What's left of your ear on the right side of your face still is ringing constantly anyway. And even though you can't hear what Riggs is saying, you know from his body language that he's threatening Doc. He's making it clear that Doc needs to succeed in this. The pudgy man turns, swallows hard, and begins his work. As he does, he looks down at you. I can put you under, but that's pretty dangerous, as you know. So if you want, I can juice you up, and that'll take some of the pain away. You won't feel everything that I'm about to do, but looking at how bad your burns are, I think we're going right down to the muscle here, and I've got to clean it out, otherwise there's going to be a lot of infection.
I think putting me under is unnecessary. I've dealt with it this long. I very much doubt there's anything you can do to any of these wounds that haven't already been done out in that field. Dig away.
For fuck's sake, Joseph, if she says just do it, do it. Riggs shouts from across the room. Right. I just... Rowan, I want to be clear about this. You've been in shock, and no matter how much of the joy juice I give you, if I don't put you under, you're gonna feel a lot of this, and I don't think anything that you felt up until now is gonna prepare you for the real reality of what's coming. So you could risk it, and nobody's going to think you're weaker for that. You know, like it might not let you make it out, but you'd at least be comfortable. And you know, I'm pretty good with the stuff, so I think I could probably keep you around.
I think we're past the point of comfort, and I would say just hurry before all the moonshine wears off.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do to make sure that you don't feel too much. And he looks nervous. He's sweating like a pig. He takes a cloth and wipes his brow and starts drawing needles and is filling vials and prepares a number of injections and sets them all out on a tray while the other medics kind of line up around him. And there are, I mean, this is the best that the Citadel has right now. And there are 4 of them, and they're all here. And this is the best treatment that you could hope for, Rowan. However, as Doc begins his work, the first thing that happens is that he peels all of your makeshift bandages away. And along with those bandages comes the remainder of your skin on a number of parts on your body. He injects you a number of times, but he was right. You feel so much of this. And the shock begins wearing down. The moonshine has burnt through your system, and whatever he's juicing you up with, it's making your head spin, but it's certainly not causing the pain to go away. You feel it, but you feel it as if you were in the middle of some sort of heavy drug trip as the walls begin undulating around you. It dulls the pain, but it doesn't remove it. And so I would ask you to please make a resist pain roll for me. And that will determine how these operations resolve themselves. You have 2 black dice of difficulty that I would ask that you add to that. Miraculously, you have succeeded with a single success. So that degree of success is going to help mitigate this. However, I will say that only with 1 success, while you pass out a number of times, you're quickly woken back up. They put smelling salts under your nose and bring you back into consciousness as the doctor proceeds to do his work. Hours go by, and you're in agony. Lampwick, at one point, this building used to be a strip club. It is now, however, a mostly empty shell. One entire wall has collapsed inward, and there is rotted wood and plaster that has been heavily piled to one side. The remains of the stages are still present, however. The tile has all been shattered. The mirrors are broken and gone. There are a number of golden bars that are peppered throughout this space. Standing behind you is an enormous figure. A large, ragged-breathed Romero, one of the dead. Its face covered by a burlap sack. stitched together across the side of it. Its eyes beyond that are a deep, empty black. Its gray flesh far beyond the musculature of a normal person. It has become something wholly monstrous and unbelievable. Even in the magazines of bodybuilders that you have seen in the past, the layers of musculature here are grotesque, unnatural. The figure has been standing there for some time, always right next to you, never threatening, barely acknowledging your presence, but always there, always near you. Father Malachi is his name, the prophet. Brother Noah Hayworth has spoken of him to you. He is salvation made flesh. He is the leader of these people, the one that will lead them forth and free their spirits of the weight of sin that they all carry. The prophet will guide the children through the valley. There are other individuals wearing white, featureless masks, covered in black garb. Their flesh is not shown, no part of it. Some of them have been patrolling the outskirts of what was once a parking lot. Now it's heavily overgrown, and here as well, there are vines and other incursions from nature that have wholly taken over this building. It is a reborn garden planted atop a house of sin. And it seems as if Brother Noah Hayworth has chosen this place to send a message, a proclamation of forgiveness. Words have been rare, but this is what you've discovered, Lampwick. They use horse-drawn carriages. They have ways of moving amongst the dead. From what you've seen, somehow, these people are able to communicate with them. More importantly, these people seem to be able to command them. You've been left here now for over an hour, and as Brother Noah Hayworth returns, he speaks to one of the masked individuals and sends them out. He walks into the space and he looks at you. Brother Lampwick, I trust your reflections have gone well today.
They have.
You have been staring into the depths of your heart. I know it is difficult to face the past, but it is the key to our salvation within the future. We must find a way to overcome the sin of who we once were. so that we may be elevated and our spirits may eventually find their freedom. What have you seen, Brother Lampwick? What within your past have you discovered? What do you wish to excise this day?
I have seen a coward. A coward who would use people and suck them dry rather than give himself a true look in the mirror. Run away from himself through using others.
You have caused much harm in this world, have you not?
I have.
You have taken so much. You have stolen. You are a thief, a liar, a charlatan, a beggar. But most importantly, Brother Lampwick, you are a sinner. But you have not chosen the way of sin this day. You have chosen the way of sweet salvation.
I have.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
I believe in your truth, Brother Lampwick. I believe that you are genuine. You have proven yourself and you have forgiven the woman that you traveled with, the harlot that would have dragged you deeper into sin. You have removed yourself from the shackles of your past. And you have spoken clearly to me. But you must understand, Brother Lampwick, that these things, these teachings, our security, our faith is shielded and protected. We have walked in the shadows for so long now. We have not placed ourselves in harm's way. We have navigated these dark passages and bided our time. And we have done so knowing that the time would come where we would no longer hide our light. I believe you have been sent to us, Brother Lampwick. I believe that your coming was a sign. But it will not happen in one day. Sin cannot be scrubbed from your soul in a single day. Your dedication must be tested, your fortitude, your endurance. For a starving man, when offered a meal, will indeed eat that meal. But will that man learn to sow the field so that he may eat again? That is the question that must be answered, Brother Lampwick, and one that will not be quickly resolved.
I understand.
We have made ourselves clear to the Citadel. They, wrathful as they are, they may yet have uses to our people. They may yet prove to be of great worth. For every holy cause needs soldiers within its ranks. Tell me everything that you know about the Ender's Line, please, Lampwick.
May I speak freely?
I would ask, with my
Right.
own salvation on the line, that you do just that.
Then I will tell you exactly what I know from the truth that lies within my heart. I believe the Ender's Line truly was my first step towards salvation. Because they were probably the first group that truly cared about others and truly, in their spirit, had generosity. And I believe that they have a place with us. With them was where I began to find, I believe, my true self and why I was able to come to you in this moment as I am. And I've seen the darkness and the wrath in the Citadel. And I've seen the darkness and the wrath and others who have true malice. I don't see that in the Ender's Line. And maybe I'm blind, but I know that if I was meant to come here, they played a part.
You are not blind, Brother Lampwick. You are gifted. You have a talent for insight that is indeed rare. It is what has led you upon your path of sin, clearly. I do not doubt your words. Surely there are some amongst the Ender's Line that are worthy of not just mercy, but of some amount of devotion and to be put to task as you and I are put to task. This is a gift. We serve the prophet. A kindness would be to kill them, to give them mercy and remove them from this land, or to allow them to walk amongst the others, to find some peace, some escape from this endless misery. But I cannot abide by what the Ender's Line stands for. It is the word of the prophet that guides us. But you and I, Brother Lampwick, we must carry forth that word and to try and salvage the sin of that land, to save remnants of the world that is now gone. That is unforgivable, for the devil has worked his way into all of their hearts, and the hearts of any of those that would seek to renew that place that we have been born from.
I have a question for you. In my desire to seek deeper understanding of what you describe, when we encounter those that we know are irredeemable, what does the prophet suggest we do?
It's quite simple. So simple, Brother Lampwick, that it takes one's breath away. We forgive them. And we show them the Prophet's mercy.
Understood. I know, then I have a big test. I know I'll need to face a group of people that have wronged me greatly and took from me one thing that meant so much. I will need you to witness whether I can forgive them and invite them towards their redemption in the light that I find myself on.
Noah Hayworth steps forward and clasps your face in his hands. Brother Lampwick, it would be my honor to follow you onto this righteous cause and to seek this redemption, to show the world in the light of the Prophet himself that you can be redeemed. But along that way, you must understand there is much that must be done. We will aid you. We will find these sinners you speak of, and we will test your resolve, your ability to give divine forgiveness.
When I'm ready and when you deem me worthy of that, it will be an honor to do so.
There is a rumble of a vehicle out in the parking lot. It's a loud, ragged thing as the lights shine across the building and the holes within it. You hear a few individuals outside. It seems that the Citadel has taken us up on that offer. I would like, Brother Lampwick, for you to negotiate with them. All of the things that Achiro were carrying, we require those. However, if in exchange the Citadel is willing to entertain the idea of further missionaries, we will send a portion of our flock to them. They will perhaps be able to build bridges that for some time will allow us to accomplish our work more expediently. However, know this before you go to them. We speak in the truth of the Prophet. We speak with a clear and open heart. When this and their usefulness is done, the Citadel will burn as all others.
Understood.
Then go and use your forked tongue for the light of salvation. Convince them, prove to them that the Citadel need fall in line. Allow them to become our holy soldiers, and together the Prophet's word will spread like fire.
It must be done.
Do you step out into the parking lot, Lampwick?
If he is giving a gesture that I may be excused, then I will. I will
He
start to
does.
survey.
Yeah. He also, the large, grotesque abomination kind of falls into the shadows, out of sight. And the masked individuals are also more or less gone. You don't know where they are. You see a few of them hiding in the shadows within the building, but the rest of them are nowhere to be seen. So it's entirely up to you as to how you want to handle this, Lampwick.
I'll look around, and if everyone's kind of like scattered, then I do want to see what is out there in the parking lot. There was commotion or something out there, was there not?
Yeah. There was a vehicle, and there are voices, and it seems like multiple people. So go ahead and make a spot listen check for me.
Right.
There's no dice of difficulty. And do me a favor and also roll 2 blue dice as well.
Will do. Huh, not so good.
Yeah, so you don't, you know that there's a vehicle out there, and you think that there's just a handful of people, but as you get closer, you realize that they can see you. And your silhouette is backlit from the fires that were lit inside of the building, the small campfire, and it is illuminating you from the back, and you realize that you've been seen. There is a woman there. She's standing probably about 20 feet away. She's got a very, very ragged looking appearance, but she has her jacket is shredded, but she's wearing like a baseball cap that's riding kind of low, and she has an automatic rifle at her side, and she sort of points it towards you.
I take my hands up and I say, "Friend, there's no need for that here. We've been waiting. Please come. Let us sit down and let us speak as friends."
Okay, yeah, hold on. The woman looks back at the others, and there are a few, probably 5 people. You really misjudged how many were out here. There is one vehicle, but go ahead. No, I'm not going to tell you that. You did fail that roll. So the others come along, and all 5 of them, minus the driver who stands by the vehicle with a gun, come with you to the building, and they're scouting the whole area. Is it just you?
Well, I'm wherever the others kind of slinked into, they kind of like step back and kind of hid into the shadows. I'm not going to call attention to them. But I'm not hiding anything. So I'm just going to kind of lead them in and towards the center, and just kind of keep their attention on me. I'm the point person in this conversation anyway. Yeah.
The woman with the gun lowers the gun. The others still have them at the ready. Like, they're not lowering their weapon in any way. She takes a backpack off and throws it down onto the middle of one of these stages in the middle of this burnt out, abandoned strip club. I was told that's what you're looking for.
I hope it is. If you don't mind me, I would like to retrieve it and see what's inside. I'll know to identify it. And I start to head towards the bag, and I slowly pick it up, grab it, open it, and start looking inside, and I'll know if it's Achira's.
A lot of it is Achira's. Some of it is Juniper stuff, but there's some of Juniper's things, but also a lot of Achira's things, but also a large number of VHS tapes. and the cases that they're in. Are you Lampwick?
I am Lampwick, yes.
Weren't you at Grey Ridge?
I was at Grey Ridge, yes. With some of your people as well.
Yeah, I heard about that. You barely made it out of there.
I did.
Rumors
They're
are
going.
the people that you're with are doing things. Is that true?
I'll need you to speak more clearly and specifically in order for me to respond to that, but I will give you the truth.
They're doing things to the dead. Is that true?
I don't believe that's true. I've not seen them do things to the dead.
All right. What do they want? And why are you with them?
Well, they found me and they saved me. And look, you know the Ender's line. And I have been an Ender for a long time now. Things sometimes don't work out the way that you hope. It's dangerous out here, and my luck led me here because they're helping me survive. But I am myself, and I am speaking to you not as anybody but Lampwick. I'm not beholden to anything except for peace. Because what I've noticed, having been an Ender and having spent time with the Citadel and now being here, and everywhere else that I was before here, we're divided. And this meeting, the way it's happening right now, this shouldn't be the way that us survivors of this thing that we're enduring, this shouldn't be the way we are. I know you must know that. Aren't you tired of having to fight other people needlessly? I am. I'm exhausted. I'm sick of it. So let me get to the point. Since we're here, we're offering, I am, on the behalf of the people here, the shepherds, as they call themselves. We want peace and cooperation. I want that across everybody. And I get to be the go-between for you. So what does it take for us to make that happen so that when you leave here and go back to the Citadel, you and I both feel like we've made this world a little bit safer for each other?
Lampwick, I want you to make a persuasion check. Roll your persuade.
Sure thing.
No dice of difficulty.
That makes that 4 successes.
I'm well aware.
I just love saying it every time.
I know you do, my friend, and I'm glad to allow you to do that. Lampwick, the woman listens to you, nods, turns back, says something to one of the others, and looks back at you. The truth of the matter is, I think something can be done here. Management's curious about you.
About me?
Yeah, you. But also these people. So What do you have in mind? And that is almost where we're going to end our story tonight. However, I have one final scene that I want to play out. You don't know how long you've been unconscious. When you wake, everything's on fire still. Rowan, you're in a bed. You're surrounded by red sheets, bandages, gauze, medical equipment. There's, through one nostril, the smell of wet, coppery blood and flesh. You're alive. Riggs is standing over your bed, smoking a handmade cigar. He helps to lean you up, offers you a pull from a flask and the rest of the cigar.
Yeah, cough that up. Oh, shit.
Look, I'm not gonna color code this. You're not gonna want to look in a mirror for a while. But you're here. Doc says you're gonna make it. And, I thought you might like some good news upon waking.
Yeah, go ahead.
We found them. We found them. And one of our spies knows where those religious freaks are.
Yeah, they give me the creeps, man. And I'm not really happy about them having our friend Lampwick. He was the only one out of that first group I really liked.
Listen, Inez came back. We got a lot to talk about. A lot. So you rest up. You get your head straight, and let's get you back into this game.
Yeah,
Management wants us to roll out soon.
do I have to rest up here, or can I go back to my quarters?
We'll transport you back here real soon. You just take it easy. You made it.
Taking it easy is not in my vocabulary, but I will give it my best scout's effort.
Good enough. The rest of that flask is yours, all right? I'll see you on the other side.
Cheers. And she will lay back and just kind of tip the bottle upside down in her mouth and finish everything that's in there.
You finish the bottle, and against your better judgment, you look into one of the shiny trays that's to the side of your bed. A lot of it is wrapped in bandages, but you've become quite the horror show yourself.
Well, that definitely left a mark.
And that is where we're going to end our session tonight. Join us next Tuesday as we return with another game of Outbreak, Rag and Bone.